Hey there, Doc. I wanted to use today's time together to discuss a question I received after my post on Sunday, which is the one about the Andy Reid interview, where he had mentioned that he created a scheme to match the identity of his players. And I felt that was so important in chiropractic business, that you have a scheme or a set of procedures that matches your identity. And for those of you that know me in consulting, I don't feel any chiropractor should fit some model, some mold. They should all have their own identity. Whether you want to be a pain relief doctor or a long-term wellness doctor or anything in between, perfectly fine. You just got to find a system that matches you. Whether it already exists or you got to create it, you've got to find it in order to have success. But during that time frame, I had asked, during the video blog post on Sunday, I had mentioned that most chiropractors pile procedures on top of procedures, end up with a cluttered mess. And that's because they've been with many consultants in the past. And it's funny, whenever I go in for an initial evaluation, the first thing any doctor does is give me a tour around his office so I can kind of see what he has available to him. And almost always, they'll go right past the storage closet or their office, which is typically a storage closet as well, and just say, oh, that's just the storage closet. We're not going to go in there. That's the first place I want to look. It gives me a lot of information. So I throw that door open, and almost without fail, there is just shelves and shelves of consultants' audios, DVDs, manuals, all kinds of stuff up there. And it kind of tells me what I'm in for. It tells me what they've been exposed to, so I can kind of get an idea of what procedures they are using. But it also just kind of shows me that they probably do have that cluttered mess, and that's why they're not getting the success that they want to, because they haven't taken time to break that down and evaluate it. So this doc was asking, kind of what I meant by that, and that's exactly what it is you take your first consultant and you like a few things about it, you don't like some others. You get another consultant, you kind of put their procedures on top and you work them together, you take another procedure on top, and like I've said a couple times, it ends up being a cluttered mess. I had mentioned in an earlier blog post that I feel it's necessary to simplify. And the title of this blog post is Make Things as Simple as Possible but No Simpler, which was a quote from Einstein. Not a direct quote, I believe it's a paraphrase. If you look at the actual quote, it's hard to read, it doesn't make any sense. But they broke it down to say make things as simple as possible but no simpler. Einstein was a pretty smart guy, so that's kind of one of the things that I've used in my consulting and really in my life. I try to simplify everything. I feel like with technology and everything the way it is, we've gotten cluttered, a mess with everything, both in our offices and in our personal lives. So simplifying just makes things easier. So what I want you to do and focus on, like I said, as I mentioned in an earlier post, I really want you to focus between now and the new year on looking at that cluttered mess. If you've been to a lot of consultants, if you haven't been to a lot of consultants, you might have done it on your own and made it even an uglier mess, but it might not be so cluttered. But instead of trying to pull out pieces that might not work, and what most people do this time of year, if they're looking at their procedures, they start adding stuff on top of it. They're like, what more can I do to get the result I want from a patient? And that's usually not the case. It's not about what more can you do. You've already done that. You've already accumulated all these procedures and stuff. It really has to be look at how simple can you make it. What can you do less of? So just scratch everything. Take that entire procedure system and don't throw it out the window. Just sit it over here for a while and start rebuilding with the pieces you do want. So you've probably had the same thing when you clean off your desk. There's no way to just individually clean off your desk. You got to swipe everything off to the side and then just bring back the few things that you need. Same thing here with procedures. Swipe all those procedures away. They're still there. You can look at them, but realize what you need in order to accomplish the goal for each patient that you have. And as I mentioned, that could be short-term care, long-term care, anything in between, but look at what you want for a patient and then add the procedures back in that you feel like are necessary. And if you can take 20 steps and turn them into 12, that's a huge benefit if you can make it simpler. But still make sure it's effective, and that's probably the more important thing. Don't take away things that have helped you get where you want to get to, and this is a process. This doesn't happen overnight. Clear it off, rebuild it, build it simply, test it, tweak it. Your next 10 new patients, see how it works, see the look you get on a patient's face, see what your results are as far as conversions. And if you have to make some changes, make some changes. But again, always looking to keep it as simple as it can be to be effective. And since this post is about simplicity, I'm going to keep it simple as well. I'm going to leave it at that for today. Like I said, we've got Thanksgiving coming up next week. I'm sure we'll have a few blog posts before that, but I hope you're looking at these things over the course of the end of this year to be ready for 2014, because it's going to be a great one.